So last speaker for this session is Dr. Ramachandra Bhatt. He is a Vice Chancellor of Swasa Yoga University. He will be talking on totally transformed personality. A round of applause for the Vice Chancellor. Sir, I'll request you to keep it a bit short so that people can ask questions to you after that.
Jnana Sangamada ಸಾಧನ ಸಭೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಜಿಜ್ಞಾಸುಗಳಾಗಿ ಕುಳಿತ ಹಿರಿಯರೇ ಮತ್ತು ಕಿರಿಯರೇ, time wheel is on a move. Now we are preparing for the second International Yoga Day on 21st June. Now we must go for totally transformed personality. If man is bliss-suffused, emotionally sound, intellectually creative, physically healthy, more, above all, spiritually rooted, then human content will be very much sufficient. If that need is addressed, all those we are just have been talking about, content development, it will be achieved. Next one. Human quality management, it is harnessing human quality, that we call it from our university, Vivekananda Yoga University. It is Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya sheath. At all 5 sheath level, there must be culturing and nurturing. That is possible only by regular practice of yoga. So Patanjali says, Satu Dirghakala Nirantara Satkara Asevito Dridhabhumihi. So that continuously, consistently, if we practice asana and pranayama, then certainly all these all-round development, it takes place. Next one. Yoga for 5 sheath development, that is what I told. For that, we have to go for various kinds of yoga. Gita Acharya Krishna says, Buddhi Yoga, it is very, very important. So that we can culture and nurture our upper chamber, which contains all those wonderful faculties. It is emotional, intellectual, it is more spiritual. Like that, we must go for Vihara Yoga, Ahara Yoga, Buddhi Yoga. Above all, it is Asparsha Yoga, which makes our human content more and more activated. Last and final one, we go to five box development. We call it Pancha Prakoshta development. Now we have problems with our mindset and our lifestyle. That is why all our 5 chambers are corrupt. What are those chambers? First one is upper chamber, our mastaka. The second one, our mouth, which contains all that vocal faculties. And the third one is our lungs, where we inhale very much corrupt air, so that it is very much corrupt. And we have heart emotionally disturbed, so that we have all those psychosomatic problems, psychologically abnormal, so physiologically also abnormal. And last one is our stomach. There we must go for sattvic food. With this much achievement, if we develop our human content, so that humanistic development takes place, so that Manava Samsadhana will be enriching, with that we can proceed further, we can march ahead, so that अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं, उसके लिए हम तैयारी करेंगे. ओम स्वस्ति.
to start the session, I invite Professor Sandeep Sancheti, President of Manipal University, Jaipur, to address this.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the post-lunch session. I'm privileged to be the first speaker for this session on the transformation and transitions. Friends, I'm not going to make you loaded with a PPT. I'll just share my thoughts on the subject for a short while. I'll also be keeping the time in control because I myself will have to leave for the airport because I'm booked for a 5:15 flight. And hence I have been given this first slot. Thanks to Mr. Karthik, Mr. Gupta, also to the Government of Karnataka, the Higher Education Department for organizing the Jnana Sangam. Karnataka is a leader in the higher education space for the country. There are many, many examples which one can talk about. And I have myself been a beneficiary of that because I was in Karnataka for 6 years, heading an institution called NITK Suratkal. And that's where I've interacted and learned. And therefore, it's always a pleasure to come back to Bangalore or any part of Karnataka to share thoughts and meet friends. Today's morning session was kicked off by none other than Shri S.V. Ranganath, who happened to be the Chief Secretary of the State Government for a long time. And he shared or initiated many, many important thoughts, in my opinion, about the higher education space. And he very well said that most of the problems are known. Most of the issues are well documented. Most of the things are known to us because we feel them on daily basis. What is the biggest thing is we don't have solutions to many of them. We have to work out those solutions, and I think with that aim, this particular convention has been organized that for 2 days we should share some of the best practices, some of the important things where we have been successful with the new experiments. And I would also try to do that a little bit possibly in the end. But before that, I'll also like to add to one point which Rangnath ji had said. The Tata Institute of Fundamental Research became very successful because of 5 reasons. And the first reason for him was the right leadership. He said Homi J. Bhabha was the chosen leader to establish that institution. And I think I'll try to impress upon this particular point because we need to find out solutions for that. Friends, I've been in leadership position of various institutions, typically 6 to 7 NITs and 1 School of Planning and Architecture, and recently with the Manipal group of institutions, particularly in Jaipur. There is a big vacuum when it comes to the leadership program or leadership development in educational space. Most of us who gets pushed into the role of principal or director or vice chancellor, yes, we like it because anyone would like a promotion, anyone would like a better responsibility and a better recognition. But I must confess that most of us are not very well trained or geared up for that position, and as a result, either the institution suffers or the students suffer, or maybe the person himself or herself lands into many problems. There are innumerable examples of those kinds known to you all over the country. Karnataka is also not escaping that. And hence, we should try to find out ways and means to do the leadership development amongst the educational institutions. With 700 universities, with any number of colleges which you can take, you probably need thousands and tens of thousands of leaders to lead this institution into excellence. Unless they themselves know the nitty-gritty of the whole thing, probably will not reach anywhere. And that's the bane of the education system today, if I can say so. A good leader will always pull even an average team together and get the good results. And that's my take on that. And why I'm telling you this is because we find that particularly in government and sometimes in private also, once the one leader finishes his or her tenure, by the time you get the next one, probably it will be 6 months to 1 year. And that transition, because this session is on the transitions, I must highlight that that transition of lack of leadership, possibly 5 years of good work with 1 year of transitionary gap will kill everything which happens during the transition, and that should be avoided at any cost. Given a chance, my suggestion to the entire fraternity would be that there should be at least 2 months of overlap before the one finishes term and the second one takes over. If we can devise some mechanisms for that, we will be very happy that our institutions will be very smoothly functioning, and which is what we want. If I've nurtured an institution for 5 years, I would never like it to go down in spite of my relinquishing the position or someone else taking it up. And therefore, it's important that the leadership should be given its due, and fortunately, that was the first point mentioned by Ranganath ji. What I'll suggest to you, Manipal group, fortunately I have another representative here from the Manipal group and they'll vouch for that, has understood the importance of that, and we run a program called SMILE, that is the Synergistic Manipal Integrated Leadership Development Program. And this SMILE is where we generally, every year, it's a 1-year cycle, we are trying to develop 10 people in the leadership role through various professional agencies, through various discourses, through various exercises, and maybe hands-on things and mentoring also. For me, because my institution at Jaipur, Manipal University Jaipur, is young, we have just begun with the second batch of that, and we hope that those leaders, whether they are available to Manipal or to any other institution, will do good to the teaching fraternity in general, and we would wish that many other institutions should join in developing the leadership. And when I say leadership, I'm not only talking of principals and professors or vice chancellors, I'm talking of even the leadership amongst the lower cadre. Maybe professor is a big time leader when it comes to academic domain. Another leadership is a concern, in addition to that human thing, I would say that the leadership in research. I'm possibly saying that with a contention or with a requirement which I think should be taken care. Fortunately, we have representatives from the government, representatives from the NAC. The point here I want to make is a young institution, if it can seed something right from the beginning, the chances are that that particular habit or practice will grow and will be followed by all. We all know that the academic leadership will be established by having the research going together or hand in hand with the academic activities, because new knowledge will come only from research. Leadership will only come in academics if you are developing new knowledge. People will recognize you and join you and be partner you also. And therefore, academics and research are conjoined twins, and therefore, research is where we should do very well along with our academics. Everyone knows and accepts that. What is the pitfall? The point which I want to bring about is, a new institution, research generally depends on the funding from the external agencies and primarily from the government sources or the sources which make it very competitive world over. A new institution would not be eligible for such a funding primarily because it does not have the NAC or the NBA accreditation. Why it would not have? Because it requires 2 batches to graduate. So 6 years or 7 years is something minimum when you can apply for an accreditation, and maybe in the 8th year you will possibly get. And then you are eligible to apply or claim that you are accredited, and therefore you should be funded. In the process, maybe 9 or 10 years can go, depending upon the institution and their interest. Now, if something which you have not done for initial 10 years in your life as an institution, the chances are that after 10 years, when you want to rectify it and improve it, would not easily be doable, will not be transformed and changed very easily. And hence, I take this forum in terms of making a suggestion here that the accreditation, at some point of time, government was thinking of making it mandatory, and it probably meant that it would be at the beginning itself or at an early stage. If it can happen at an early stage, it will be nice. If NIRF, which is a new initiative, becomes an equivalent, you can say, alternative which can be done at an early age, even that should be considered, or any other third model which is there. But institutions which are young, which are new, which are willing to do the leadership in the research should be given a level playing field by having such things and by not disqualifying them by saying that you don't have the accreditations right now, which will generally not come for 10 years. So, friends, this is as far as the leadership is concerned or performance in the academics is concerned. since morning we have heard that there is a focus on what we call ICT. And I'm very happy that Karnataka once again, through the leadership of the higher education, particularly the technical education, and also through the use of ICT, they are making inroads into making institutions better. Bharatlal Meenaji himself is an exemplary leader. Wherever he has gone, we have known that he has led by an example. And in this case also, his that IT chakra which he mentioned or showed to us, which they call Jnana Sangama Smart Key, was a unique proposition, and there were 11 elements which he has covered in that, and those 11 elements through which he is trying to connect, or the government of Karnataka is trying to connect all the universities, leverage the ICT, is a very good example. It's for all of us to get engaged with that and follow with that. The only piece of advice which I can possibly add from my experience there is one very, very important initiative. If you have seen, there was about education, there was about assignments, there was about homework, there was about lectures. There are various components which were there in that. One thing which was missing in that is the laboratory. Without laboratory, many of the special courses or special programs will not be catered to fully. And therefore, if possible, if the government of Karnataka representatives are here, possibly can convey this message that there could be a segment of virtual laboratories added to that. Fortunately, Government of India under NME-ICT has driven what we call virtual laboratories in a big way, and Karnataka happens to be a leader. Once again, NITK Surathkal has a huge lab of virtual laboratory nature, which is doing very well amongst all the 12 or 14 participating institutions, and that should be taken advantage of. So if they can add such dimensions, that chakra or that smart key will become even smarter, in my opinion. On top of that, Meena Saab was also talking about, when he was concluding the first session, he was also talking about the placement being very important. In my opinion, in the same chakra, placement kind of a element can also be added through that chakra ICT tool, that where the compilation of all the information. He also wanted tracer studies, like where the students are going, which program they are doing, get connected with them till they settle down very well, say next 5 years after graduation. All that can be encapsulated in what we call a training and placement module kind of a thing. So that could possibly be the 13th element of the chakra which was there. The last obviously could be the alumni itself, which was not there. So I don't know, but we can use, see, suppose this is now 11 plus 3, 14 elements are there. So my institution is new, I'm growing, I'm moving. I'll start with first, let's say 6 elements which are there. Next year I'll probably make it 8, next year I'll probably make it 10, 12, whatever. And ultimately I'll keep adding something to the kitty through the ICT tools and make it 14 all. So this will be a good platform to leverage upon in terms of how ICT can help us. Now, having said all that, maybe in terms of advice and some experiences, I'll also share an odd best practice which we are trying to follow. Manipal University, Jaipur, fortunately last year got selected as a first Smart Campus Award amongst very tough competition, some of the renowned institutions. It was NDTV Cisco. And we say it smart because, and we feel that yes, we are slightly ahead of others, unlike certain awards which are conferred on us here and there is different, but that was a competitive one. And under Digital India drive of the government, something was found out in us. So academic management system is a common thing. Registrations, courses, schemes, marks, degrees, all the compilations, CGPAs, etc. are there. But one could possibly say that academic management system is one many of us try to follow in our own way, and there are ERP solution providers right here in this hall and otherwise also who have made these things possible for all of us, and that's a good system which we do. But in addition to that, if I can tell you some of the additional examples to facilitate my work. For example, all my hostel management is something like airline management system, and I'm saying that because there are around 2,400 to 4,000 students currently staying in hostel, and coming July we expect it to be 5,000, and therefore we wanted it to be purely done through the electronic means. And what we do is an airline-like system. We open the window for taking the hostels. They pay the fee. Once they pay the fee, they are entitled for selecting hostel partners, and they're also entitled for selecting hostel, let's say the locations and the rooms and single-seater and double-seater, whatever such things. So it's like an airline system that you book the ticket and then you book the seat and you do various things like check-in and all that. So that has facilitated the students in terms of choosing their partners and so on and so forth. The same gets extended to various complaints if they have something about electricity, water, or any cleaning, etc. They can book their time slots, when to clean the room and when to attend something, and all that is done very, very nicely. So that is a good use of ICT. The second thing which we are trying to do is, instead of, UGC has mandated electronic surveillance of the campuses. So one can do it with 4 cameras possibly and say, yes, I have satisfied the condition. One can do it with 40. We have done with 400 in our campus of around 120 acres, purely because we wanted to cut down the cost and increase the reliability. And that has brought us rewards to us in terms of effectiveness of the campus security. So that's another ICT use we do. The third special use which we do for ICT is, we are a very, very green campus. By the way, we are the first GREHA 5-star rated campus of the country. And therefore, we had to be efficient in electricity and water. And efficiency is not only by design, but also by implementation. And that's where we have used what we call the smart metering at various locations in terms of uses of water, in terms of uses of electricity, and to keep a tab and control on all the leaking points or all the points which are causing the harm or loss to us. And we aggregate all these data on regular basis and make sure that there is an efficiency in that. So we have used ICT in various ways, not only in the teaching learning, which is the core to the education, but also bringing better efficiency, better transparency, and better speed in terms of our functioning. So I thought I'll use this platform to share some of the successes or the best practice, or the best practices, at least if not best, which can be followed by our other institutions in the country. And I also shared a few concerns which I hope collectively we'll try to find answer to. So with these few words, I'll take my seat. And once again, thanks to all of you for your attention. And thanks to Mr. Karthik and Gupta ji's team for giving me this chance. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, sir. I still remember while interviewing you, you focused on the need of good teachers and how good teachers can be produced in India. And there's a lot to learn from you. Maybe in next other conferences we'll get more time of yours, and so that we can discuss more things with you regarding education. Thank you.